Business in the 217 on the WMAY morning news feed. I'm Greg Bishop. We love checking in each and every week with the Springfield Business Journal and publisher Michelle Ownbey joining us here with Business in the 217. Michelle, a lot to get to this week, so let's jump right into it. You've got somebody joining another firm, deals with furniture and supply. Tell us about this.
Yes, this is a well-known name in town, Ed Stanfield Jr. He was the general manager for Glenbrunk Stationers for 15, 16 years. I'm kind of dating myself here. I go way back at this point. Ed and I were chamber ambassadors together for a number of years. And of course, Glenbrunk merged with CDS Office Technologies back in 2015. And Ed has been doing some other things since then, but he has now joined Core Installation Furniture and Supply. Corey Blair, another well-known name in the local furniture and interior design industry, started her own firm a few years back, and so now the two of them have teamed up for this latest business venture.
So what kinds of things are they offering? Is this for, the cubicles, for the businesses that need office equipment and furniture, or is this also for people who are looking for some home furnishings?
Probably a little bit of everything at this point. They are primarily targeted to businesses, but as you mentioned, a lot of people are now doing business from home, and I'm sure there's a big demand for that these days. People are tired of having their laptop at their kitchen table and to make a little bit more permanent space for their home office. So I have a feeling that that's a pretty popular industry at the moment.
Yeah, I can imagine people have been sitting at their dining room table with their laptop and all their equipment out, and then they have to break it down to have dinner, and so maybe they can find some good quality business type of furnishings that they can set up at home at Core Installation Furniture and Supply. So good to know that Ed is now with that firm. We've got another venture that Springfield Business Journal is reporting on, and that is a new coffee venture. Tell us about this.
Yes, and what a nice name. It's called the Grateful Coffee Company. It's a husband and wife, Brandon and Kana Austin, and they are opening up on April 3rd out on Toronto Road. This is actually the former Three Twigs bakery space, and stay tuned for more to come from Three Twigs. But we've chatted with Emily and Tim Lewis a number of times over the last couple of years because they've had a lot of things in the works, and they had indicated that they were planning to close up that bakery space on Toronto Road as they kind of adjusted their business and expanded in other directions. So Brandon and his wife are now taking over that space. They are actually still going to sell Three Twigs products. So for everybody who lives in the area looking to get their fix, you'll still be able to get the Three Twigs pastries. But they will have their own coffee shop and also have some breakfast and lunch offerings there. And they're actually friends with Emily and Tim, and so Brandon said that that's how it came about. When they found out that Three Twigs was no longer going to need that space, they had reached out to Brandon and his wife, and they were able to make arrangements to take it over. So good for them.
Yeah, always good to see entrepreneurs work with other entrepreneurs to keep a certain space vibrant and busy because people in the community definitely enjoy when they see storefronts that are busy and not vacant storefronts. So again, Grateful Coffee Company going to be opening April 3rd there on Toronto Road. Another issue which, Michelle, quite frankly, kind of gets into the weeds a bit and deals with tax increment financing and a little bit of historical perspective for people who don't follow city council happenings here in Springfield. But we've got an issue that's going to get kind of interesting as to how this all plays out. And of course, the Springfield Business Journal keeping on top of this. Tell us what you got.
Well, and so speaking of vacant storefronts, this all kind of came about for me because I had started noticing that there were a lot of Behren trucks downtown on the old Capitol Plaza. You may recall the former Chamber of Commerce building there on the south side of the plaza that's been vacant for a number of years now since the chamber moved further south. And of course, last year they had part of the roof collapse. There was a lot of water damage. Robbie's next door had to close temporarily due to the damage. But there's been kind of a flurry of activity over there lately. And so I called up Aaron Acree, the owner of Michael Von Behren Builder, and he confirmed that yes, he is the new owner of that former chamber building, and he's currently working to stabilize the space and correct some of the damage that had been caused from the water leak. But he's hoping to convert the building to residential, and there are actually a number of property owners downtown with similar plans. We hear a lot about there's such a need for residential space downtown, but it's very expensive to convert those upper stories to residential use, to some kind of modern amenities and floor plans that would make it habitable. And as you mentioned, it often takes some kind of subsidies. The downtown TIF is the most likely source of those subsidies to make the conversions feasible, but there's not a whole lot of money remaining in the downtown TIF at this point. So there was an ordinance on first reading at City Council tonight to take $760,000 from the city's fund and actually reimburse the cost of a project that happened a few years back. You may remember a number of years ago now, the city had used money from the downtown TIF to replace the roof on the municipal building, Municipal East, and that was fairly controversial at the time. Still remains controversial. People bring it up as an example of poor use of TIF funds, and so the mayor is now proposing to repay the downtown TIF for that project, which in turn would free up money to allow Aaron and some of these other property owners to do their residential conversions.
Yeah, and anytime you deal with tax increment finance money, you gotta, kind of follow where those monies come from and how they get doled out. And just to give people just a brief primer here, that's tax money that people pay into a separate pot created by the TIF. And that separate pot of money is used to help spur on economic development in certain areas. So you can see why using that money for a city-owned parking structure may not have been necessarily the most popular idea. Instead of focusing those resources on something, making sure that a vibrant area is kept vibrant for business to thrive and to prosper there. These are just some of the things that you can find with the Springfield Business Journal every week, right here with Business in the 217. But Michelle, it doesn't stop there. People can get a copy of the Springfield Business Journal. How can they make that happen?
Absolutely. BizBytes comes out every Wednesday. That is our weekly newsletter with a roundup of what's happening in town, and it is free of charge. So you can go to springfieldbusinessjournal.com to get signed up for BizBytes, and of course you can also sign up for the print edition and get that delivered to your home or office each month.
Michelle Ownbey, publisher of the Springfield Business Journal, here with Business in the 217 on the WMAY Morning News Feed. Thanks for taking time with us.
Thanks, Greg.